Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Untuk episod agenda Awani kali ini, saya terpaksa melakukan perkara ini. Perkara ini dinamakan selfie kerana tamu saya pada malam ini adalah seorang usahawan teknopreneur dan beliau bersama rakan beliau, dua orang lagi pengasasnya. Mereka baru saja mendapat dana bernilai $9 juta Amerika. Dan untuk itu saya ingin meminta izin berbicara bahasa Inggeris because tonight is all about Carousell. It's about selling things, and we do know that we have 29, close to 30 million people in Malaysia alone, population, but the numbers of mobile phones exceed that particular number. It's closer to 45 million, and a huge percentage of that are smartphones, and that's the market we're looking at. And that's just Malaysia. What if you throw in Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, Southeast Asia countries alone, and that gives you millions and millions of people, hundreds of millions of people. Thank you so much, Marcus Tan, for being with me tonight. I'm trying to be cool because you're the Gen Y, and you know, you're the closest to Silicon Valley, founder of multi-million-dollar startup that I have. So you're the closest version. You're just from Singapore, born in the west part of Singapore. So tell us about Carousell. The audience can see it on your T-shirt. But you're so young. How old are you?
I'm 31 actually.
That's young because 31, a lot of 30-something or 29 years old, they want to, you know, have millions of dollars around them by the age of 30. But you have it, not for yourself, but for Carousell, this startup that you have started with two other people. Yep. You can introduce them later to us, but sell it to us here, me and the audience, what Carousell is all about and why we should be excited about it.
So Carousell essentially is the largest and fastest growing mobile first marketplace in Southeast Asia.
Okay.
Like you say, Southeast Asia is growing. There's like 610 million people, and 400 million people are still not on the internet, and they're going to be on the internet.
Yes.
So Carousell is like very excited to be like the first like mobile first marketplace to serve this community, to serve these people.
Okay. Some people will be saying, because we were introduced to going into the internet on our PCs and our Macs first before we access them on mobile. But why would they want to go and buy and sell on mobile when they're so used to eBay, Alibaba, Mudah, Lelong, you know, the online web-based selling place. But you're pitching something else. You're saying that it's more natural to buy and sell, especially if you're not a company, if you're just a user, a consumer, to do it on a C2C platform, consumer-to-consumer platform,
Yes.
which you have.
Yeah, I think the future is mobile. Firstly, two things. One is that mobile phones are getting cheaper.
Yeah.
In less than like 100 ringgit, you're going to get a smartphone in the next 2 to 3 years. And it's as powerful as a personal computer right here. They can process Word documents, they can like watch videos. And what's more, a mobile phone, this so small, elegant product, has a camera, it has GPS, it has a mobile number, which means it's an identification. And you can text people and they can call you.
Yes.
So I would say that this personal computer is far bigger and more powerful than a traditional laptop or desktop. And you can do far more things.
And it's
with
more
a mobile phone.
personalized, right?
Exactly.
So if you're selling and buying, that's an emotive engagement kind of activity. So, you know, you like something, then you buy, you know. But you also need to have an investment of your personality into what you do. You know, you might be selling something that you love so much, but if you just put it on other sites, that emotional part might not be there, might not be reflected. It's just any other product or services. So, but with your particular application, I can chat, I can talk, I can discuss about this particular product that I'm looking at.
Yeah, so exactly. I mean, exactly. This is what we notice. It's a trend. Not say a trend, but this is what a Gen Y like generation is. We call it the instant messaging generation, where people are so familiar with like WhatsApp, soon Snapchat. I mean, it's growing.
Yes.
User-based Snapchat. People who are so like on the go, very conveniently able to reply, and less so using emails and like checking out through e-commerce. They want to deal through chatting because that's the most natural way to communicate on mobile phones. So we noticed that a lot of our sales are going through like after quick customer support, like ask a few questions and they want to deal straight away. So being able to instant gratification in like replying and getting feedback of the product has been very, very helpful for sellers.
So it's simpler, it's very mobile, it's very close to the heart.
It's very convenient.
Everything is there, it's so convenient. Maybe you should show them now.
Sure.
You can show us on your iPhone.
So this is Carousell.
It's free to download, right?
Free to download, yes. Free to download on the Android and Google. Sorry, on the
iOS
Android and Apple App Store. So we are close like 18 over categories, and a special collection on top. So we help people. We profile like recommended sellers where they have really good products. Like for example, notebooks, handcrafted notebooks, where they can just list it in less than 30 seconds.
So I see for her right on top.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere down there for him or?
Yes. Yeah, there's a for him here.
Yes. So, you know, it's by gender, it's also by product, it's also by design and craft.
Correct.
There's also sports as a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Then there's photography and luxury. So,
maybe I can show you like this. Why is this the simplest way to sell?
Why is that?
So for example, look, your iPad looks a bit old, right? Let me just sell it on Carousell.
Okay.
So selling is essentially as simple as taking a photo.
Okay.
If you know how to take a photo, you can sell on Carousell.
Okay.
So we allow a seller to have like up to 4 photos. So you can choose like different angles of your product.
For one product, you can take 4 photos.
Yes.
Okay.
So you have like you can show like the whole the angles and the state of the product.
Okay. Cool.
And then you choose a category. So an iPad would belong in the lifestyle category. So we're pulling out categories from database and it's lifestyle gadgets.
Okay.
You can iPad mini, choose the location that you want to deal at. Let's say, because I'm going back later, let's put it at New Central.
Okay.
And let's put it as like a bargain at 600.
Okay, cool.
Okay. And what we do really well, what we try to do is that we help you broadcast your Twitter followers, your Facebook friends.
So it's not just on your app,
Correct.
but it links to the other apps.
Exactly. So what value prop is that we help you sell to as many potential buyers as possible.
Okay.
So once you have all the information, it's listed on Carousell. So within like less than a minute, you can sell something.
So it's not a passive thing. Let's go into that later. It's very attractive. It's almost in your face kind of thing because it just doesn't wait for potential buyers to come. It will alert them on other platforms. But we also want to know how did Marcus and his friends came to think about this idea. And before we always think about, you know, Silicon Valley, they have Stanford, you know, they have people like the Google founders there, the Facebook founders. But this is Singapore, you know, just 5 minutes across the streets and we are there and they have come up with this and they've gotten $9 million for the last round of financing that they have. We're going to talk about that right after this short break. This is the episode where I can play around with my phone. I can play around with my phone because I have good justification. Justification is I'm familiarizing myself with Carousell, the new app that's already on iOS and Android platform. And, you know, I'm looking at K-Wave as one of the categories where you can go buy and sell. So I was telling Marcus that I want to start an M-Wave. It's a Malaysian wave also because it's not just about new things. You know, the Gen Y also want to know about their history, their culture and cultural products. But before I go there, before you steal my idea, I want to go back to Marcus and how did this come about? You know, the three of you.
Yeah. So we spent a year in like Silicon Valley in US. So my other 2 founders, one is Singaporean, one is actually Malaysian.
Okay.
So
cool.
his name is Lucas Nu. He's from Port Dickson.
Okay.
He went to Singapore to study and he went to the US together with my other partner, Siu Wei. So we went for the program, we took classes at Stanford and we worked in internet startups there for a year.
Okay.
And we just fell in love with like technology.
So you just immerse yourself into the startup culture in Silicon Valley.
Yes. So like we were there working as like interns. We were like interns working on product, working on design, and just doing everything. I mean, like in a startup, you actually do everything.
Yes.
There's no like function that you are specialized
So
in.
you're the seller, you're the buyer, you're the executive, you're also the hands-on.
You clean the office as well.
Okay, cool.
So that was where we fell in love with like technology and internet. Like when we were there, you go to any coffee shop, you see people talking about like technology, how it solves problems.
That's what people keep telling me, you know. They say that even though there's a lot of initiative around the world, Singapore, Malaysia included, that wants to do and create something like Silicon Valley. But what they don't have is that vibrancy where everybody you meet almost talks about technology, talks about business, talk about entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think it takes like time. Silicon Valley did not just come about like suddenly. It took many years. It took even a war, even schools to be around the area. Then like you have the fear of war. Then they develop technology. And that's where like venture capital come and invest and spill over to like the commercial and private sector. So it's not like something that happens overnight. But I think in Southeast Asia there's a lot of opportunities because there's so much problems, improvements that can be made, a lot of problems that you can solve. And this kind of things is where like the US or the European countries, they don't understand the context here. So there's a lot of opportunities for like Southeast Asian countries, nations to build their own hub. I wouldn't say a Silicon Valley, but their own hub where there's local entrepreneurs. And you see a lot of VCs coming and putting funds in Southeast Asia.
That's why I want to tap into your wisdom and expertise here, because sometimes people think it's too far. If you're born in Southeast Asia, you don't have an uncle or cousin that's into Stanford or Silicon Valley, then you feel like, what are my chances of being successful, you know? But you have proven that, hey, the growth of the world, the economic growth especially, is in Asia.
Yes.
And those guys out there in Europe, America, they might not know what's good for us. And I always talk about this case study of Nokia and also Ericsson. They were the first to look at the phones, you know. But the moment we migrate to smartphones, then they start being left behind. And now they're out of the game, so-called, in that sense. So the opportunity is with us. The impetus is with us. We just need to believe, and we just need to connect, like what you did by going to Silicon Valley.
Yeah, I agree that like there's this idea where like you don't have like Ivy League students in like the qualification, but I believe that like the internet has enabled like a level playing field in education. There are a lot of like literature out there you can read and learn. YouTube, in fact, watch like Stanford web like courses on YouTube. There are a few. iTunes have it. There's a lot of like websites that actually sell those kind of courses that you can actually study in like top universities in US. And I think there's a level playing field. And the only difference between them and I think us is that how much you want it, how much hunger do we have to want to succeed, and how much desire do you want.
How technical does it get in terms of having the resources to start? Do you need to have a coder among you? Do you yourself need to learn coding and code yourself first? How do you look at
that? I mean, for a mobile app, definitely you need one that can engineer it. But the app, there are a few parts to it. So for three of us, like each of us we will direct input to the final product of this app. So I do design the user interface.
GUI.
Yes. So like for example, so the design process would be like this. My partner Siwei, he does the user experience. So he'll create wireframes, he'll draw, he'll create like this whole flow of how the app should be. You press this button,
the SOP
where does it
of
go
how it goes.
Like where you got the diagram of how it would be when you press the particular button.
The more engineer side of things.
So that's more the user experience. So then I'll take that blueprint and I create like the user interface where the colors, the typography, the size, the image, the photos, and then maybe there's any texture here and there. And then we'll pass that to Lucas, who engineers, who builds it, who codes it in whatever platform that we have.
So the Malaysian is the coder?
Yes, he's the engineer.
I'm going to kidnap him, before we go for the last commercial break, I want to see, once you got the idea, how easy or how hard was it to convince yourself first, and then to convince others that, hey, we have a gem here. Of course, at that time, before the 9 million and stuff, people say, really? You know, stuff like that.
So I think, firstly, you have to convince yourself to let go of everything, because you know in like Southeast Asia, like parents will tell you what to do, right? They dictate most of your lifestyle, in fact, of like your choices in life. Go school, you work here, work there, join big companies. So you need to convince yourself first to take a leap of faith. Then you can convince your parents, because the parents are obviously going to like say negative stuff. And you tell your friends, also your friends are going to say it's not going to work out. So I think you have to start from yourself first. And once you have that desire and that motivation to want to do a startup, then you have to focus on it. Because we took a year without any pay, any salary to do Carousell. And Carousell didn't like took off straight away. It took like close to a year to iterate to get to the product where it is today, where there's users.
Once you have the idea, what was the breakthrough? I want for you to share, because that's no longer a secret. What was the breakthrough? You know you have a solid application, but you need to convince certain key stakeholders. How did you do that? And what's in store for the future? I'm sure you're looking already to the next steps. So that after the short break. You are still watching Agenda Awani. I'm so glad to be here with Southeast Asian owned multi-million-dollar startup. I would like to call them that because I don't have that luxury of saying that so often. 3 co-founders, one of them Malaysian from Port Dickson. I'll get to him. I'll get Marcus to give me his number. But Marcus is here all the way from Singapore. And what was the key breakthrough? You've got everything right, the user experience, the flow of how it's going to be like, the coding part was tested and tested again and again. But then you need to convince certain people. You don't have the money yourself. You need to convince the stakeholders in finance or even some other technology guy that might beef up what you already have. What was it for you guys?
So I think it was constant, it was resilience. We didn't like, Carousell did not like took off from day one, or like, even with all the polished things and nice fancy user interface, it didn't that took off. It's just constant like iteration and listening to the community.
You get the users to come in first.
Yeah, so we go to fleas, we go to bazaars like Publica, like Jayawan Flea Market. We go to there, talk to the sellers one by one, asking them what would help them sell. And we take the feedback and we iterate on the app. And we convince them, we win them one by one. So that was a long process. We took almost a year of iteration of the app. Then that was when like we started picking up.
So coming out with the app was actually the relatively easier task.
Yes.
Going out to convince others was the tougher part.
Definitely. I think it's easy to build any app. I mean, it's easy to clone an app because it's just, you can follow A to Z. You can just follow exactly and you can clone it. But the difficulty in like modern technologies, right, is getting users, because there's so many apps available. They can easily download another app and then they can, it's not very good, let's try another app.
So what do you think was it? Because when I was reading a lot of articles about Carousell, you do have competitors, but they don't have the traction with users that you have. And the take-up rate by users, people like you and me, is a lot for you guys.
I think there's 2 things that we focus on. First, we really care for our community. As I mentioned, we listen to every single feedback and we put them into the app. So for example, a lot of our sellers wanted like a review system, a feedback system, so that they can create the credibility of their profile. So we put that in straight as fast as possible. And likewise, they wanted an inbox, like a mailbox, to collect all the offers and messages.
So they can see for this particular product.
Exactly. So we built that as soon as possible as well. So we took a very community approach, listening to our users. And the second thing that we do is we are very personal. We try to reply to every email that comes in, no matter what that email is all
Any
about.
feedback, you just address them straight away.
Correct. And we have meetups. So we meet our sellers like every once a month at a particular cafe and listen to their stories and also find out how can we improve.
So now is the next step. You've got millions of US dollars behind you. So what's the next steps?
So I think it's basically to build an engineering team first, and also to accelerate expansion in our markets.
Capacity.
Yes.
Okay.
So we hope to like hire like a good team, fit talents to join our mission to inspire more people to start selling.
You take old people? No, I was just kidding. Twitter went out for the longest time, millions of users, before they even thought of monetization. What about you guys?
I think for us, it's like we are focused on growth as well.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, we have finite resources. We are a 12-man team. 6 of them are engineers.
Okay.
And there's only so much you can do at a single day. And one of the things that we want to focus right now is just to build a better product, grow the community, and build a great team. And things like monetization is important for us because we want to build a sustainable
It's a
company.
business at the end of the day,
We definitely want. But right now, we just focus on like doing the most important things.
Because that gives you credibility too. If you have millions of users.
Exactly. I mean, we are absolutely convinced that we have a good business model because at the end of the day, we are a marketplace, physical product.
What would be, this is the last question. What would be it for you? Bill Gates, we know what was it.
Yeah.
After a certain number of money and stuff, he would just want to do good. For you, what would it be?
I think for us, we're all very passionate about technology, and just from the day one, even from Silicon Valley to today, our motivation is like to build the best product experience for our community. Our mission is to inspire millions to start selling. It's not like our mission to quickly get profitable.
That you get 50 million or 1 billion or anything like that.
We're just very happy with the user stories that come out using Carousell, like stay-home moms with kids being able to start a business online on Carousell, students who have no pocket money be able to sell stuff, to create handcraft, to sell things.
Between
so amazing.
Southeast Asian technopreneur and somebody from America in Silicon Valley, because they would be talking about numbers and money and returns, but you talk about enabling.
Yeah, for us, we believe that the internet and mobile will enable a next generation of people creating a new lifestyle using a mobile app. It's so amazing because like with mobile phones right now, you have a personal mainframe computer with you all the time.
Notice that Marcus didn't even mention being a millionaire or anything like that. I like it. You have to come again. Anytime this show is open for you, please bring Lucas from PD here. He's a Malaysian and we want to know more about him too. And you can send in your own views. If you have direct critique of Carousell, I'll be happy to pass them on to Marcus. Hantarkan pandangan anda sendiri kepada pelbagai platform yang Astro Awani ada, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, ataupun terus muat turun aplikasi Mudah Alih iOS dan Android supaya anda boleh menonton rancangan seperti ini secara langsung di gadget Mudah Alih anda. InsyaAllah Malaysia juga boleh melangkah ke dunia seperti di Silicon Valley. Sekian, selamat malam dan terima kasih. Thank you so much, Marcus.